Hope and from House of Grace in Maryland. When I was sitting over there and Daddy was talking, I started crying because I remember that when I got to the US 20 years ago, the taxi cab that took me to the school that I got to in West Virginia the driver wanted his money and I had no money. They had collected it all the way. The sponsor was supposed to, support me had backed out. I had to wave a stranger, a white, student, and the guy I borrowed $50. But what am I trying to say? That in everything that was said today, what I heard is that grace of God is sufficient for us. So I'm just going to use you very briefly with 3 examples. And Father, breathe upon this gist, breathe upon your word. In about 5 to 7 minutes, do that only you can do. In Jesus' mighty name. Amen. So, grace was what I was thinking about when I was sitting on the seat and I started shedding tears. Because grace is getting what you don't deserve. So if you're supposed to get a job and the qualification is a doctorate degree, but you don't even have a high school certificate, grace is what makes you get that job. But mercy is ensuring that you don't get what you actually deserve. So if you committed an offense and you were supposed to be sentenced to death, but the judge says you can go free, that is mercy. Mercy says no. Grace says yes. So I also heard that the grace of God is what actually covers your efforts, but covers your errors. The grace of God covers your effort, but it also covers your errors. So I'll give you 3 examples in a few minutes and then I'll hand the microphone over. So, the grace that covers your effort in Exodus 33, Moses is an example. Because God showed up, he wanted to see the glory of God. So God showed up in a dramatic fashion and made noise on Mount Sinai. But God said, no man can see me and live. Yet, Moses saw God and lived. God stretched forth his hand and covered Moses, built a hedge of protection, so that as he passed by, Moses could see the backside. Moses deserved to die for seeing God, but mercy said no. But before then and afterwards, we haven't heard that anybody asked to see God physically and God actually showed up like that. So Moses got what he didn't deserve. That is grace. That's example number 1. But because God used his hand to build a hedge around Moses, it's almost like a wall, and then removed that hand or that wall. The interesting thing about walls is that walls shut in as much as they shut out. So, as God removed his hand, God removed a limitation from Moses seeing his backside. God will remove every limitation on your way in the name of Jesus. See, before then, like I said, no man can experience that grace to see and stay alive. So that is how I know, and that's why I decree that God will do for you something he has never done for any man, and he will never do again in the name of Jesus Christ. A few more minutes. That's example number 1. Example number 2 is in Matthew 2, where a star announced Jesus Christ. If you want to title this little gist for 5 minutes, it's called The Grace That Announces You and the Grace That Protects You. The grace that protected Moses, and God showed up dramatically. God will show up dramatically in your life. In the name of Jesus. So in Matthew 2, the wise men, they saw star that announced the birth of Jesus Christ. And they went to Herod, and Herod said, come back and bring news. But he was going to do harm. So in a dream, God warned. Grace announced Jesus Christ through the star. God will announce you Jesus' name. See, afterwards, Joseph then had a dream. They brought frankincense, gold, and myrrh. That That is how I know God is about to release gifts and money and wealth to you in the name of Jesus Christ. So, in a dream, the wise men were warned not to go back to Herod. Herod killed all the children under 2. But then Joseph was warned to take the child and Mary to go to where? Egypt. And after Herod was dead, Joseph got a dream again that the coast is clear. Those who were trying to harm the child are dead. See, dreams and prophecies were fulfilled in death. Every dream and prophecies God has given you, it shall be fulfilled in Jesus' name. There was a grace that announced Jesus Christ as a star in the sky. And there was a grace that protected him from being killed. The grace that announces you, the grace that announces you. That's example number 2. And the final example is Jesus Christ was going to the house of Jairus, who was in charge of synagogue, because his daughter was sick unto the point of death. Jesus Christ did not send email. He did not make flyers. There was no public service announcement he was going there. But there was a crowd and multitude. And the woman with the issue of blood for 12 years, who has spent everything on physicians, somehow from the backside could identify Jesus. Grace announced him. Because you have to know somebody very well to identify them from their back view. The grace that announces. But if you compare it to when they wanted to arrest Jesus Christ for crucifixion, they couldn't identify him. They had to pay Judas about 30 shekels. And that is how he blended in with the disciples. That protected him. There is a grace that announces you. There is a grace that protects you. But why would Jesus Christ blend in after he was announced in previous times? Because after God announces you, God still expects you to be humble. So he blended in. The grace that announces, the grace that protects you. That is all my example. And then we will pray and I will hand over the microphone. But in the hymn, O Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder, there is a line that says, I see the star, I hear the rolling thunder. A thunder is a heavenly announcement. A thunder is sound in the sky. That is how I know God is about to announce you. It is a rolling thunder. After you see the star, Isaiah 61 says, arise and shine. God will make you shine in Jesus' name. That's because God is announcing you will shine. A rolling thunder, not one thunder, but a rolling thunder, a series of thunder. And that is how I know you are going to go from glory to glory to glory to glory in the name of Jesus Christ. 30 more seconds. This is American greeting, special type of greeting, because there's no message. So, but what am I trying to say in the last 10 seconds? Is that a rolling thunder. That is how God scares your enemies. That is how God confuses your enemies. With a rolling thunder. The grace that announces you. And that's how I know that for the rest of your life, everywhere you go, the grace of God that colors your effort and covers your error will announce you and protect you. In the name of Jesus Christ. God bless you. That's all my scriptures from America.